2:47 a.m., Marib, Yemen. The pitch-black desert sky suddenly erupted with dozens of low-flying heat signatures. A swarm of Houthi drones and missiles was hurtling toward a strategic U.S. forward base at breakneck speed. Throughout the area, air defense warning systems immediately went red. In less than 90 seconds, a chain reaction was triggered, officially pushing tonight's battle far beyond the attacker's control. And that was just the beginning. After weeks of escalating geopolitical tensions, the Iranian-backed Houthi forces decided to launch a bold and calculated offensive. Their target fortified military bases and forward air defense networks deep within the strategic Marib. To achieve maximum tactical surprise, the Houthis launched their opening strike, sending waves of Samad. 3 drones, Wa'id loitering munitions, and low-flying missiles racing through the valley skimming terrain and using civilian traffic routes as cover. 2:52 a.m. At this time, in international airspace bordering Yemen, a U.S. Navy E-2D Advanced Hawkeye manufactured by Northrop Grumman was monitoring the battlefield. Its AN/APY-9 active electronically scanned array radar that operates in a frequency range designed to detect hard-to-identify targets, even stealth targets. Seconds later, faint signatures began appearing across operator displays. Within moments, the Hawkeye established stable tracking paths on the incoming Houthi strike package. Simultaneously, operating covertly in the electronic periphery of this battlefield, a Boeing EA-18G Growler electronic attack aircraft began recording unusual local radio frequency emissions and measurement links from secret mobile control stations hidden within Houthi-controlled territory. The warning was immediate. Across the U.S., tactical network alert status surged to maximum readiness. Target coordinates flooded into Link 16 data channels, updating every connected unit in real time. On the ground around Marib's Raytheon-manufactured Phalanx ground-based weapon systems, commonly known as CRAM along with short-range air defense batteries, switched to fully automatic combat mode. 3:05 a.m. A General Atomics MQ-9 Reaper lifted off from a nearby airbase and climbed toward the Marib Valley. Minutes after entering the battle space, the drone settled into a wide, high-altitude orbit beneath thick cloud cover, becoming a real-time intelligence node over the battlefield. The Reaper's multi-spectral targeting system immediately transmitted electro-optical and infrared signals to the Joint Operations Center. Hidden Houthi missile launch positions began appearing in quick succession on tactical screens, mobile launchers' movement routes, and command vehicles coordinating the drone attacks were revealed. Maintaining distance outside the reach of local anti-air defenses, the MQ-9 shifted from observation to strike mode, its sensors locked onto a Houthi tactical command vehicle moving along a concealed desert road. Seconds later, authorization came through. An AGM-114R9X Hellfire missile detached from the squadron and hurtled toward its target. A fraction of a second later, the command vehicle was ripped apart with absolute precision. For a brief moment, it looked like the United States had seized control of the battlefield. But the Houthis had expected this move. Instead of activating their emitting search radars that could trigger electronic warfare receivers, the Houthis operated in complete radio silence, using FLIR cameras to observe the sky with the naked eye. Deep within the darkness, a Soccer 358 silently climbed into the night air. It circled slowly over the valley, waiting, hunting, searching. Minutes later, its seeker finally caught a bright thermal signature, the MQ-9's engine glowing against the cold desert sky. The missile suddenly broke from its orbit and dove. The impact tore directly into the drone's fuselage. Flames erupted across the airframe as the MQ-9 rolled violently and disappeared into the darkness below before crashing into the barren Yemeni desert. Within seconds, the United States had lost a critical eye in the sky. Across the tactical display, a hole suddenly appeared in the battlefield picture. 3:18 a.m. Following the downing of the Reaper, U.S. forces plunged into a severe tactical crisis. At the same moment, the Link 16 tactical data network began suffering localized disruptions, slowing and distorting the flow of real-time information. Houthi forces, had activated a dispersed network of low-power electronic jamming stations and illegal radio transmitters mimicking target shapes. Some flight paths suddenly split into multiple phantom signals, while others vanished momentarily before reappearing at different locations, causing the actual radar signals to appear blurry, fragmented, and delayed on the base's internal monitors. Inside the CIC, tension rose instantly. For a brief moment, battlefield awareness narrowed. Operators shifted priority toward the E-2D Hawkeye's AN/APY-9 radar and passive electronic intelligence feeds from the distant EA-18G Growler. From a safe land-based airbase, a squadron of Boeing F/A-18E/F Super Hornet fighter jets took off heading straight into the combat zone. To expose the Houthis' aerodefense Super Hornet aircraft launched a barrage of miniaturized ABM-160 jamming devices. These AMLD devices actively broadcast simulated radar reflections using internal signal amplification systems to perfectly mimic a large, highly dangerous squadron of multi-role fighter jets entering the airspace. Radar stations suddenly became highly active across western Yemen, aggressively scanning for targets. Several batteries began deploying heavy firepower, firing a barrage of interceptor missiles directly into the flight paths of these illusory targets. And immediately the trap sprang. Radar signals revealed the precise locations across the area. Even as the deception unfolded, some Houthi batteries continued to pursue the dummy targets, wasting precious engagement windows and depleting their limited missile readiness cycles. The Super Hornet immediately switched to dedicated escort mode to suppress enemy air defenses with its high-speed anti-radiation missile AGM-88 HARM ready to fire and destroy any new radiation sources as soon as they were detected. The battlefield has shifted once again. This time the hunters are the hunted. 3:31 a.m. Taking advantage of the chaotic radio interference, a squadron of 5th-generation F-35A Lightning II stealth fighters took off from a frontline airbase, silently tearing through the night. The F-35A's advanced passive sensors immediately intercepted and precisely located every Houthi signal transmitter. This high-resolution data was fed directly into a unified kill sequence, dispelling the digital fog and exposing the enemy's hidden eyes. But the Houthi forces adapted almost immediately. Instead of fleeing, they deployed a massive wave of Samad-3 suicide drones flying in a fixed straight line, deliberately feigning chaotic and disoriented formations. This was a deadly psychological trap. Houthi forces are using cheap bait to lure hundreds of millions of dollars worth of F-35A aircraft deeper into a pre-prepared area near Hodeidah in western Yemen, where hidden missile batteries and concealed air defense positions are waiting. Attracted by seemingly obvious targets, the F-35A squadron continues its pursuit and crosses the line of the trap. Immediately, Houthi forces activate their ultimate weapon, a barrage of Sakhr 358 stealth missiles launched unexpectedly from secret camouflage positions, hurtling directly toward the stealth fighters. The Sakhr 358 missile proves to be an asymmetrical nightmare, specifically designed to stealthily bypass conventional radar warning thresholds. It penetrates the outermost layer of defense. The F-35A's AN/AAQ-37 dispersive aperture system detects the missile engine's ignition spark early enough. The pilot immediately performed a high-speed defensive turn while simultaneously firing a barrage of specialized magnesium flares to deceive the missile's tracking algorithm. In the chaotic digital space, the F-35A's DAS system suddenly flashed an unusually large number of infrared alerts signaling a threat from overlapping enemy fire sources. Recognizing that the local tactical picture had reached a critical point, the squadron commander switched the avionics to independent local tracking mode to filter out the electronic fog. Even while maneuvering to avoid danger, the F-35s continued their hunt, maintaining passive stealth mode. Their sensors silently collected emitted signals and infrared signatures from the recently exposed Houthi network. The very act of retreat became part of the attack. 3:45 ACE. Sensing a brief gap as the F-35s withdrew from the ambush area, Houthi forces launched their most powerful counterattack of the night. A massive swarm of Samad-3 suicide drones coordinated with a barrage of low-flying cruise missiles was determined to overwhelm the U.S. defensive perimeter. In the air, the AN/APY-9 radar of the E-2D Hawkeye suddenly became flooded with overlapping target trails and flashing symbols. Several drones had penetrated the outer layer and continued straight toward the base. In a few tense moments, it seemed the Houthi forces had finally found a fatal flaw in the U.S. defense network. But the U.S. military's digital architecture remained unshaken. Despite the congested tactical data network, the E-2D Hawkeye aircraft leveraged its superior processing power to sift through the digital fog of war, merging disparate target trails and directly providing priority targets to the ground defense system. Surrounding the runway, the CRAM system opened fire with a deafening roar. A blinding barrage of 20mm incendiary rounds spewed from General Dynamics' Gatling gun, tearing through the night sky and creating a wall of fire in front of the base. Sirens echoed throughout the airfield. Two Samad-3 drones, just a few hundred meters from their target, disintegrated just seconds before impact. Their debris blazed around them. The balance of power on the battlefield had officially shifted completely, and at that very moment, the F-35s had found a gold mine. Hidden at the edge of the battlefield, their passive sensors locked onto targets within a secret data relay cluster and coordination network, the brain controlling the entire swarm of drones. With superior sensor integration capabilities, the F-35A instantly synchronized passive data from the EA-18G Growler local radar arrays and orbital reconnaissance satellites. Acting as the supreme controller on the battlefield, the stealth fighter targeted core tactical networks, designing and leading a large-scale, synchronized counterattack against critical command centers, radar stations, and large underground weapons depots along the Yemeni coast. 402M. The F/A-18E/F Super Hornet Squadron abruptly turned, sharply plunging back into the combat zone, activating their advanced AN/A G-79 active electronically scanned array radar system. A powerful electronic scan penetrated the Houthis' long-range surveillance radar system and eliminated their last remaining warning signal. Simultaneously, the precise coordinates previously identified by the F-35A instantly became a death sentence. A barrage of AGM-84 Slamjer cruise missiles along with GPS-guided smart bombs rained down on the newly exposed network. The Houthis' main long-range radar stations exploded in plumes of secondary fuel smoke, and electronic equipment was blasted apart, creating thick clouds of smoke. In just 1 hour of intense, multi-dimensional chaos, the Houthi forces' offensive capabilities along the Red Sea corridor were severely weakened. The Iranian state apparatus, although operating safely behind a curtain, was completely shocked by the terrifying speed and perfectly coordinated sensor response of the American counterattack. The defining factor behind tonight's high-value neutralization lies in a weapon system built entirely to bypass conventional explosive metrics. The Raytheon-manufactured AG-1 Force R9X Ninja Hellfire Fire. What remains largely unknown about this highly classified variant is its complete omission of an explosive warhead. Instead of relying on a chemical blast wave, the R9X deploys 6 razor-sharp mechanical blades hidden within its skin exactly 100 milliseconds before physical impact, expanding outward like a mechanical guillotine. The kinetic energy of the speeding airframe, combined with these sharp edges, physically slices through car roofs and targeted individuals with absolute mathematical precision. It was engineered specifically to surgically eliminate a single high-ranking commander inside a moving vehicle or a small room without causing collateral damage or leveling the surrounding city block. For the Houthis' command structure tonight ended in a catastrophic failure, but for the United States military, it was merely another routine day executing multi-domain combat operations in the Middle East.